People should not take self-help to retrieve community property from their estranged spouses because a lot of bad things can happen. As the article that I wrote stated, people could get arrested for a variety of crimes as well as be subject to a restraining order. There's a lot of harm that could happen if people struggle over personal property, and as a family law attorney, I advise people against that. There's a variety of things that could happen that are bad if you take personal property from your estranged spouse. One of the things that could happen conceivably is if there's a struggle, you could be arrested possibly for robbery, you could be arrested for burglary, trespass. There's a lot of criminal charges that could be charged against somebody who struggles over community property. You could also be subject to a restraining order, and of course the court can find that your behavior was not conducive to settling a case peacefully, and you could be sanctioned for egregious type of behavior. The best way to handle a situation if you want to retrieve personal property that's community property from your estranged spouse is to use the legal system. There's a variety of things that can be done legally and that are way more effective than self-help. For example, you can have the other attorney in the case agree to draft a stipulation that you can go to the residence at a specific date and time to retrieve your property and to create a list of the things that you want taken. You could also go to court. If there's no agreement on the other side, the court's likely to allow you to pick up a reasonable amount of personal property when you're establishing a new residence. During a divorce, there are a lot of situations where people may need to retrieve their personal property upon a separation. When a spouse moves out of the family residence, they frequently leave behind some of the personal effects that you need on a daily basis, such as your grooming needs, maybe your work papers, your clothing, your office materials. There's a lot of things that you need, as well as maybe some furniture to set up a new residence. So there's legitimate reasons why people need to go in and get their personal property when there's a recent separation between spouses. If you're a spouse who is in possession of community property and you know that the other spouse wants to retrieve a portion of that property from you, there's a couple of things that I would advise that you do. First of all, I would suggest that you try to handle the situation amicably through the legal system, and that is by allowing the other side to come over at a designated time and place, and so long as somebody's watching, be able to retrieve the property, leaving behind a receipt of the items taken. I would also suggest that the spouse take photographs of everything inside the home prior to the estranged spouse coming back, so that if there is any theft or things that are missing, that you could present to the court the items that were taken. One last tip: when you're photographing these items, you may want to take a newspaper and put that in the lens of the camera so it identifies the exact date that the photographs are being taken.